I never thought my quiet little street would turn into a battleground. Not the kind with bombs or bullets. No, nothing that obvious. The kind where your enemy waves at you every morning, drops off banana bread at your door, and then tries to strangle you with a rule book when you're not looking. That's what living in Ridgewood became for me. All it took was one plain white envelope, no return address, just slipped under my front door like some kind of snake. Inside was a notice from the PDA. Just 3 sentences, but man, they hit like a wrecking ball. Violation. Unauthorized Wi-Fi activity. Fine. $500 per day. Effective immediately. I read it 3 times, hoping I'd spot a punchline. But nope, it was real. And that's when I knew things had taken a turn. See, my 16-year-old daughter, Sophie, she's a tech whiz, a stubborn one too, and she just locked the whole neighborhood out of our internet. Apparently, the PDA, or someone working with them, had found a way to leech off our Wi-Fi, siphoning off bandwidth like Halloween candy. So Sophie shut it down, and here we were, facing fines that could bury us. The president herself, Linda Prescott, called it a security audit. I called it what it was: sabotage, retaliation, plain and simple. I should have just laughed and gone back to mowing the lawn. But that's not me. When someone comes after my family, I can't let it go. And that was the moment I realized these folks running the neighborhood weren't neighbors at all. They were predators hiding behind potluck invitations and smiles. Saturday morning was supposed to be peaceful. The smell of coffee, my wife humming to herself, Sophie glued to her phone, pretending not to listen to us. Even mowing the lawn felt good. The steady roar of the engine, that feeling like maybe, just maybe, I had things under control for a minute. But then I heard Linda's voice slice through the morning like a rusty saw. "You're a quarter inch too low." I didn't have to turn around to know it was her. Ridgewood's own Queen Bee, beige pantsuit and clipboard at the ready. She handed me a violation slip. $1.50 fine for scalping my own grass. Emily, my wife, stepped out with a glass of iced tea, worry written all over her face. Linda smiled, sugar-coated, but you could feel the thread in her words. "Just keeping things tidy," she said. I crumpled the notice and knew right then this wasn't about lawns or property values. It was about control. Linda had drawn a line in the sand, and I just stomped right over it. Friday nights at our house were sacred. Popcorn, a cheesy action flick, the rare miracle of Sophie willingly joining us on the couch. That night, though, the movie kept buffering. Sophie muttered something about the Wi-Fi crawling all week and disappeared into her room, her command center full of blinking lights and tangled cords. 20 minutes later, she came back, face pale, hair a mess. "They're stealing our bandwidth," she said. "The PDA. And not just ours, Dad. They're pulling from every house around here." Emily looked at me, fear creeping in. "Why us?" she asked. Sophie just shrugged. "Maybe because you mouthed off about the grass." It hit me like a gut punch. Linda couldn't find me enough for the lawn, so she found another way in. Sophie grinned, dangerous and sharp. "We don't need them to believe us. We just need to lock them out." She did. New firewall, 32-character password. For the first time in weeks, I actually laughed. But across the street, Linda's face twisted as her dashboard flashed red. "Node disconnected. Source compromised." She finally looked scared. 17 hours later, the war came back harder. Neon orange sticker on my windshield, final towing warning. The fine print claimed my car was parked on the street too long, even though it was in my driveway. Emily sipped her coffee, grim. "She knows," she whispered. "This is payback." Every day that week brought a new notice: trash bins left out too early, a weed in the sidewalk, mailbox not shiny enough. The stack grew taller, and so did my rage. Friday, another envelope. This one official with a signature. Violation. Creation of hostile and unapproved wireless network. Fine. $500 per day. Hostile Wi-Fi. Was that even a thing? Sophie checked the bylaws. "She's making it up as she goes," she said. We were bleeding money, and I was done. I stormed across the street, straight at Linda, who was busy barking at landscapers. "Enough!" I shouted. She gave me the coldest look. "People who cause instability here tend to find life uncomfortable," she hissed. That wasn't a warning, it was a threat. Emily was right. Yelling wasn't going to fix this. Fred, my neighbor with the ridiculous Elvis gnomes, was right too. Taking her on alone was suicide. Linda had the rules, the money, the power. Unless we beat her at her own game, we'd lose everything. That night, I couldn't sleep. Pacing the kitchen, staring at the hostile Wi-Fi, it hit me. Why was she so desperate to control the network? It wasn't about the grass or even us locking her out. It was about whatever we just cut her off from. The next morning, I slid the letter to Sophie. "I need you to get back in," I whispered. She groaned. "You want me to break my own firewall? Just look around. Quietly. See what she's hiding." For 2 days, Sophie barely emerged from her room, just long enough to grab snacks. We heard her muttering at her computer all night. Tuesday, she appeared in the living room, trembling with adrenaline. "It's not just about us," she said, flipping her laptop to show us a spiderweb of code and network diagrams. She's using every house as a node, building a private network, bouncing traffic. It's a digital smokescreen. Emily's face went pale. A smokescreen for what? Sophie tapped a key. The word Viper blinked on the screen. Emily insisted we call the police. Sophie shook her head. "She'll spin it. She's the PDA president. I'm just a teenager with a laptop. Guess who they'll believe?" She was right. It'd be our word against Linda's, and we'd already seen how that played out. I looked at Sophie, saw the fire in her eyes. "You think you can get more?" She nodded. "But I need to plant a device on the server in the clubhouse." Emily was horrified. "Absolutely not." But Sophie grinned. "I wasn't planning to go alone. That's how we became co-conspirators." Sophie built the device, a logger sniffer, to capture everything from the server. Thursday night, we went in. Emily kept watch. Sophie cracked the code. Linda's favorite committee anniversary. Narcissism makes terrible passwords, and I fumbled my way through picking the lock. We made it to the server, clipped on the logger, and then Emily's voice blared in my ear. Linda was back early. We bolted, dove into the shadows, just as Linda's car pulled in. My heart didn't stop hammering for hours. The logger fed us files, live keystrokes, chat logs. Most of it was boring PDA stuff, until Sophie found files marked Viper Tunnel and a chat with VPR Keeper. Turns out, it wasn't Linda at the top of the food chain. It was Raymond Lee, the mousy treasurer nobody ever paid attention to. He was the mastermind, using Linda as cover, using our neighborhood as his playground. Sophie found a note, Viper's secure handoff, 6 p.m. during the budget meeting. That's when the drives would move. Emily wanted to call the cops, but we all knew how that'd go. Sophie reminded us that local cops took donuts from Linda and Raymond every Friday. "We need the feds," I said, remembering a college friend's cousin at the DOJ. It took one tense phone call, but soon I had a direct line to the Cybercrimes Task Force. Detective Harland wanted us to cause a distraction at the meeting. "You're the perfect cover. Loud, angry, paranoid. Get in Linda's face. Give us 30 seconds of chaos." Emily nearly collapsed when she heard, but Sophie was determined. "He trusts noise," she said. "We'll use it." Saturday night, Ridgewood High's cafeteria was packed with folding chairs, stale coffee, and the hum of bored parents. Linda was at the podium, smug as ever. Raymond sat beside her, briefcase at his feet. The handoff happened fast. A bank rep handed the case to Raymond. That was my cue. I stood up. "Excuse me," I called out, voice shaking but loud. "Why has my family been fined over $1,000? Why was our internet hijacked?" The word Viper echoed in the room, and then all hell broke loose. FBI agents surged forward, parents screamed. Raymond tried to bolt with the case, but Fred, my gnome-loving neighbor, blocked the door. Fred's gnome smashed the case open, drive spilled out, and agents swarmed. It was over in 60 seconds. Harlan told me, "You did good. You gave us the window." Fred grinned, holding up his battle-scarred gnome. "Worth it." That was for Norman. We laughed, really laughed, for the first time in months. The next morning, headlines blared. PDA president and treasurer arrested in federal raid. Ridgewood buzzed with gossip and news vans. Fred brought his gnomes back out, proudly restoring Norman and Nettie to their rightful place. Sophie was hailed as a hero online, but still got suspended for unauthorized use of network resources. She just smirked. "Guess I'm grounded to my computer." And then, one day, an envelope arrived, a refund check for every bogus fine, a note from the new board. "Thank you." We won. We sat on the porch that night, coffee in hand, sun setting gold over my slightly overgrown lawn. No one cared anymore. After everything, it was just grass. But it was my grass, and I'd never take that for granted again. Weeks passed. Life got quieter, but never the same. Karen, Linda, awaited trial in an orange jumpsuit. Raymond vanished into federal custody. The new PDA board sent out real newsletters about bake sales. No threats, no hidden fines, just cake recipes. One afternoon, I mowed my lawn, blade roaring, and grinned for the first time in ages. Emily called out, "Careful, don't scalp it, or you'll get a $100 fine." We both laughed until we cried. Sophie got an email from the FBI about an internship. She's 16. "Guess they like my work," she teased. Fred arranged his gnomes out front again. Balance restored, he said. Sometimes the smallest soldiers fight the biggest battles. I couldn't argue with that. Late at night, I think about everything we went through, how power corrupts, how monsters can hide in plain sight, and how a man who just wants to mow his lawn might end up storming a PDA meeting with the FBI. You never really know your own limits until someone threatens what you love. And when justice finally comes, it's not about grass or clipboards. It's about standing your ground, no matter who tries to take it from you. Now let me ask you, where do you draw your line? Is there a price for standing up, even when the whole world wants you to sit down? Tell me, have you ever had to fight for something that was yours, just because someone with a clipboard said otherwise? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to know, where do you think justice ends and power begins?